Hello everybody, I'm Jesu, the General Manager of the Americas for Mintegral. I'm glad to be here today and to participate in the Hyper Games Conference and to talk about today's topic, how to grow your app in Asia. To start, I'd like to give a brief overview of Mintegral and why we are positioned to speak on the topic. Mintegral is based in Beijing with regional offices around the world. We help many of the leading developers across the world find success in APAC and in Tier 1 countries. We help these developers with user acquisition, SDK ad monetization, and creative services for ads. Let's start off with the largest market in APAC, China. I'm sure the audience is aware of how large the China market is, and here are some impressive stats. China is a mobile-first or mobile-only country. Mobile ad spend in China reached $59 billion in 2019. Mobile advertising made up 80% of China's digital ad revenue, and is expected to hit $100 billion by 2023. From our data, we see ARPU in the range of $38. Chinese users spend an average of 6.2 days on their phone, or 1.8 days per week. The typical user has around 23 apps installed on their phone. Now that we have some data, let's move on to best practices and consideration for the China market. Android dominates China, but there is no Google Play Store in China. There are more than 200 different Apple Android app stores in China. This can mean launching your game on 40 or 50 stores. Localizing your game means more than just translating the name into Chinese. Think about everything from the game name, UI, colors, and the art style. Colors have a significant meaning in Chinese. Another topic to consider is ISBN. Most existing developers and publishers with games in China and those looking to enter the market will need an ISBN to operate in the country. Free games that are supported by only ads, such as hyper-casual titles, won't be affected by the regulations. Another consideration is the Big Four. The Big Four meaning Baidu, ByteDance, Alibaba, and Tencent. These large companies account for 77% of China mobile internet usage. Chinese users also prefer QR codes and SMS confirmations versus email that is used in Western countries. Now let's go on to some actual examples of what has worked for global developers in the China market. TileMaster is a great example of how localized, iterable playable ads can increase IVR for developers looking to break into new markets. In this case, TileMaster saw anywhere from a 215 to a 324 increase in IVR by having 3 different versions of the playable ad. Another great example of how playables made for the specific market in hand can drastically increase in performance. As you can see here, we can look at Idle Heroes for China. In this instance, both playable ads and live action video ads increased CVR and IVR. Working with a local experienced partner can help you understand the nuances of the Chinese market. A great game alone isn't a guarantee for success. Working with the local Android stores for distribution is key. Also, understanding the IP and regulatory restrictions for China. Researching culturally relevant gameplay and design, such as on the right. Also, the importance of social media and understanding the platforms best suited for your game. It's also important to develop a launch strategy with your experienced partner. Now we'll move on to Japan. While smaller than China, Japan represents a good opportunity for developers. Mobile gaming revenue, $9.2 billion. It is the third largest in global revenue. It has 1.8 billion downloads. The current size of the user base is 34.4 million. We're seeing ARPU of around $199. And Japan has the highest percentage of paying users after 90 days. As we'll find out in the coming slides, launching in each Asian country has their own nuance and best practices. For Japan, it's important to build anticipation during the pre-launch phase. Gaming sites serve as good channels to start building buzz. You can also use CPA and TPC-based pre-registration campaigns. When possible, you can also push for media coverage. You can also boost chart rankings for your game, increasing your game's App Store rankings at a relatively low cost. You can also run a high-intensity UA campaign utilizing top-tier media sources like Facebook, Google, Twitter, and Yahoo. Utilize local premium media, including Line, Smart News, and Top Buzz, Line being the largest and very important in Japan. Make use of influencers, TV, outdoor advertising, and other awareness-building tactics. Japanese outdoor advertising can generate huge awareness. Gameplay, game tips, and live gaming sessions can all be streamed by influencers. It's also important to retain and retarget previous players. Now we'll move on to South Korea. It's another great opportunity for mobile gamers. Here are some key stats from this market. 2.3 billion mobile gaming revenue for the first half of 2020. That's the fourth largest mobile gaming market. And if you're keeping track, China, Japan, and Korea are three of the top 5 in the world. 91% of the country's population are internet users, and 94% use their smartphones to connect to the internet. 90% of Koreans prefer mobile games, and Koreans spend an average of 64 minutes per day on mobile gaming. Now let's look at some best practices for the Korean market. Localization is essential. Koreans prefer to play games in their local language. This includes elements of graphics and character style that reflect local tastes. Korea is the home of esports and competitive gaming. Some genres like RPG and RTS are extremely popular. Korean gamers are almost exclusively play free-to-play games, which means games need to be built around effective and a proven monetization mechanic. Utilize individual character items or power-ups that have an overall positive effect. integrate your game with Korea's largest messaging platform, Kakao. This will allow you to expand your reach to other potential gamers. All mobile games must be approved by two separate governing bodies: the Game Content Rating Board and the Game and Administration Committee. Now we'll look at an example in the hyper-casual space for South Korea and Japan. Specifically, custom video and playable ads in each market help iWine grow. With this success, this developer was able to expand their reach to other international markets. It became top 4 in Japan and number 1 in Korea's free game chart. Now let's move on to Southeast Asia, which is another large region. 90% of their users use their smartphone to connect to the internet. They also spend an average of 4 hours per day on apps. Mobile gaming revenue for this region is $2.6 billion, and there will be 250 million mobile gamers by 2021. 90% of mobile gamers in Southeast Asia play esports. We're seeing ARPUs of $25 for the region, and if you're looking at Singapore alone, $77. Here are some specifics to consider in each of the respective countries. With Thailand, the download charts are dominated by casual games. Top 10 grossing charts for iOS and Google Play are dominated by hardcore games. They prefer graphics and art style of Korean and Chinese IP, as well as strategy and MMORPG games. In Indonesia, popular genres on mobile are racing games, strategy games, action or adventure games. Online battle arena genre has been a huge growth driver as well. In Vietnam, RPGs dominate with strategy and car battle games. Vietnam leads the pack with IP for gaming and is one of the top countries for buying users globally. The preference for Chinese style influence over graphics in Vietnam. In the Philippines, they prefer racing games, strategy games, and action or adventure games. While in Singapore, the current gaming market leans more towards MMORPG and strategy games. In closing, let's review some takeaways to make your app a success in Asia. China, Japan, and Korea make up 3 of the top 5 global gaming countries. You'll want to work with a partner, a local partner, or a partner with previous success in the region. Localized, culturalized ad creative can make a big difference for IVR and CVR, and your ability to compete for quality users. Hyper-casual games without IAP can launch in China without an ISBN. It's important to understand the nuances and distribution channels per region. The Chinese Android market dominates, but is extremely fragmented, and you'll have to have a go-to-market strategy. I hope that overview was informative, and we recommend that you have discussions with your advertising partners. If you'd like more information or have more questions about what has been shared today, you can reach me at jeff.su@mintegral.com. Thank you.